Ladies and gentlemen of Raider Nation, buckle up because tonight's report is going to hit you like a Max Crosby blindside sack. Hard, fast, and leaving you questioning everything. Imagine this, your Las Vegas Raiders, the silver and black warriors who've clawed their way from the gritty streets of Oakland to the neon glow of Allegiant Stadium, dominating a game from the opening kickoff. They outgain their foes by over 150 yards, stuff the run like it's 1976 all over again, and yet, they walk away with a gut-wrenching one-point loss.
Why?
Because a blocked field goal attempt seals the deal, but let's be real, the real dagger was 3 picks from your starting quarterback, Gino Smith. 3 interceptions against a defense that's about as fearsome as a practice squad. Raider Nation, is it time to hit the eject button on Gino? We're diving deep into this Week 4 heartbreaker, unpacking the what-ifs, the tough calls, and why change isn't just knocking at the door, it's kicking it down. Stay with me, this is going to be a ride. Let's rewind the tape to that electric Sunday under the shadow of the Las Vegas Strip. The Raiders, fresh off a gritty win that had fans tailgating in the parking lots with pyrotechnics that rivaled a Cirque du Soleil show, welcomed a middling opponent to town. From the jump, it was silver and black supremacy. The defense, led by that beast Max Crosby, who, by the way, has more sacks this season than most teams have touchdowns, pinned the visitors back on their first 3 drives. Crosby's got that old-school Howie Long fire in his veins, doesn't he? The guy who terrorized quarterbacks in the 80s and now watches from the rafters, probably nodding approvingly as Max swats passes like they're pesky flies. And don't get me started on the run game. Zamir White churning out yards like he's auditioning for a sequel to Moneyball, but with shoulder pads. The Raiders led 17-7 at halftime, looking every bit like the playoff contenders we all dreamed about during that scorching training camp in Henderson. But here's where the script flips, folks. Enter Gino Smith, the veteran signal caller head coach Pete Carroll handpicked to sling it to stars like Davante Adams and Jacoby Myers. Gino, who burst onto the scene with the Jets back in 2013, that wild card kid from West Virginia with the arm like a cannon. Remember his 462-yard debut? Yeah, that guy's got pedigree. He revitalized his career in Seattle, throwing for over 4,000 yards in back-to-back seasons, earning Comeback Player of the Year nods. But last year, in a blockbuster trade that shook the AFC West like an earthquake under the bay, the Raiders shipped out Derek Carr, our prodigal son who'd thrown more touchdown passes in silver and black than anyone since Rich Gannon, and brought in Gino to steady the ship. Pete Carroll, the evergreen wizard who's coached more Super Bowls than most teams have Lombardi trophies, saw Gino as his guy. The perfect blend of pocket poise and deep ball daring to finally crack that Chiefs fortress across the divide. Yet, Week 4? It was a horror show. Right out of the huddle on the opening drive, Gino drops back, scans the field, easy read, right? And floats one right into the waiting arms of the safety. Pick 6. Boom, 7 points gifted before the offense even blinked. Raider Nation, I felt that one in my gut from my broadcast booth. And it didn't stop there. Midway through the second quarter, same safety, call him the interception whisperer, baits Gino into a trap, dangling coverage like chum in shark-infested waters. Another pick, this one stalling a drive that had 1st and goal written all over it. By the 4th, with the game teetering on a knife's edge, Gino forces a 3rd down the seam. Picked off again. 3 interceptions on the day, pushing him to the league lead with 7 already, just 4 games in. Against a secondary that's ranked 28th in pass defense. These aren't fluky tipped balls or Hail Mary heaves. These are freshman mistakes from a guy with 9 years under his belt. Now, let's pause for a deep breath, because as much as it pains me to say it, this isn't just one bad afternoon. It's a pattern that's got the Raiders staring down a 1-3 hole faster than you can say, Allegiant Stadium sellout. Gino's completion percentage is dipping below 62%, his yards per attempt scraping 6.2, career lows. Compare that to his 2022 renaissance, 69% completions, 8.4 yards a pop, and just 11 picks all year. What's gone wrong? Is it the offensive line, patched together after losing Colton Miller to injury? That unit's allowed 12 sacks already, turning Gino's pocket into a phone booth. Or is it the scheme? Pete Carroll's West Coast roots, think quick slants and play-action bootlegs, clashing with Gino's gunslinger instincts? We've seen it before, quarterbacks forcing throws when the game's not clicking, like Jamarcus Russell in his Oakland heyday, those glory days turned nightmare that still haunt Raider lore. Speaking of history, let's take a stroll down memory lane, because no Raiders story is complete without it. Picture 1960. Al Davis, that renegade visionary, snatches the team from the AFL's ashes in Oakland, igniting a flame that burned through 3 Super Bowl wins, 76, 80, and 83. Legends like Marcus Allen, gliding through defenses like a ghost in the end zone, or Bo Jackson, the dual-threat demigod who could outrun a Ferrari and hit homers harder than a Raider blitz. Those were the days of the autumn wind poem echoing through the Coliseum, that salty fog rolling in off the bay, whipping fans into a frenzy against rivals like the Steelers or those smug Broncos. Fast forward to 2020, the great migration to Vegas, trading black hole vibes for blackjack tables and LED light shows. Allegiant Stadium, our gleaming Coliseum in the desert, hosted that epic 2021 playoff win over the Chargers. Remember Darren Waller's one-handed grab? Pure magic. But QB instability. It's our Achilles heel. From Gannon's MVP magic in 02 to Carr's steady hand, we've chased that elusive ring, only to fumble it with carousel changes at the helm. And now, Pete Carroll, hired in a shocking move last offseason, swapping his Seahawks reign for Vegas Sun, faces his own trial by fire. At 72, he's the oldest headman in the league, a guy who's built dynasties on the backs of Russell Wilson's and Marshawn Lynch's. But drafting Gino as his bridge? Bold. Risky. And after Sunday, it's backfiring spectacularly. I caught up with a fictional, but totally plausible, sideline chat with defensive coordinator Patrick Graham postgame. "Look," Graham said, wiping sweat from his brow, his voice gravelly like he's been yelling, "Blitz!" all afternoon. Our D bent but didn't break. We held M to 17 points despite those gifts. But offensively, we've got to protect the ball. Gino's a pro, but pros make pro decisions. Time to tighten the screws. What about the man himself? Imagine Gino in the locker room, helmet off, that trademark scruffy beard hiding the frustration. "Tough one, man," he'd say, eyes locked on the camera like he's pleading with every fan from Reno to LA. "I let the team down today. Those reads. On me. But this offense, Adams, Myers, White, they're electric. Give me a clean sheet next week, and we'll light it up. Raider Nation deserves better, and I'm going to deliver." Passionate. You bet. But words are cheap when the tape doesn't lie. Enter the elephant in the room, or should I say, the backup on the depth chart, Kenny Pickett. The kid from Pitt, 3rd overall in 2022, who's bounced from Pittsburgh to here in a draft day swap that had Raiders fans buzzing like slot machines. Kenny's got that underdog fire, starter experience with the Steelers, where he threw for 2,000 yards as a rook, scrambling like a young Aaron Rodgers. He knows the West Coast wrinkles from studying tape, and in preseason, he carved up the second team with zippy outs and deep posts. Bench Gino for Pickett? It's not crazy. Remember 2018, when Derek Carr got yanked for a half against the Broncos, and the spark ignited a late-season surge? History rhymes, folks. But it has to come from Pete. He's the decider, the grandfatherly guru who preaches patience. "Gino's our leader," Carroll might say in his presser, that Seattle drawl cutting through the noise. "We've seen vets stumble before. One game doesn't define a season. But yeah, improvements. Non-negotiable." Statistically, it's damning. The Raiders' turnover differential sits at -5, worst in the AFC West, behind even the Broncos, who we all love to loathe. Gino's 7 picks? That's 2 more than Patrick Mahomes has all year, and Patrick's got the best O-line money can buy. If this keeps up, we're talking 6-11 finish, missing the playoffs for the 3rd straight year, and circling the draft for a QB like Shadur Sanders, Dion's kid, who could turn Allegiant into a highlight factory. But flip the script, bench Gino, unleash Pickett, and that defense, top 10 in points allowed, carries us to 9-8, sneaking into the wild card. Beat the Chargers in that revenge rematch? Oh, the fireworks. Or imagine Thanksgiving at Arrowhead, spoiling Mahomes' pie with a Crosby strip sack. The implications? Massive. A QB change signals commitment to contention, not complacency. It fires up Raider Nation, those diehards in their pirate eye patches and face paint, chanting, "Just win, baby," from barstools in Fremont Street dives. Let's sprinkle in some trivia to keep it fun, because what's Raiders football without a dash of lore? Did you know the team's move to Vegas was inked on Al Davis's birthday, March 4th, like cosmic karma? Or that our rivalry with the Chiefs dates back to the AFL wars, with 10 playoff clashes? more than any duo in league history. Pop culture tie-in. Think Hard Knocks season on HBO, capturing that 2019 Oakland vibe, camaraderie amid chaos. Now, in this 2025 edition, it's Gino's redemption arc or bust. Expert take. I chatted with a fictional analyst, Raiders alum and Hall of Famer Tim Brown. Pizza genius, Brown opines, his voice smooth as a fade route. But geniuses adapt. Give Pickett the reins. The kid's got that intangible it factor. Remember my '95 season? We benched the starter mid-year, and boom, Super Bowl run. History's on your side, Raiders. As we wrap this whirlwind, because trust me, my throat's hoarse from the passion, here's the bottom line. Change isn't out of the question, it's inevitable if wins are the goal. Pete Carroll's got a week to huddle with his staff, Gino's got film to devour, and Pickett's got reps to earn. Raider Nation, this loss stings like a blocked kick in overtime, but it's fuel. It's the spark that turns frustration into fire. Tune in next Sunday as we host the Broncos, payback time in the Mile High, where we'll remind those orange clowns why the AFC West bows to silver and black. Grab your tickets, fire up the grill, and chant it with me, just win, baby. This is your Raiders reporter, signing off from the Vegas lights. Until next time, keep the faith.